All right, let's get right into it. This week I wanted to show you guys how I made a cool ARP sound, which is going to be included in my new Liminal Spaces sample pack. So without further ado, let's just preview this new sound. It sounds like this. So yeah, let's get right into it. What I'm going to do immediately is I'm just going to mute all the effects that we have because we're going to get to those later. Let's also mute Oscillator B for now. Let's mute the filter and the noise and just start with Oscillator A. Now, as you can see, Oscillator A has this very weird name. You might notice it's different than Oscillator B or even Oscillator C that you might be familiar with if you've ever opened up Serum 2. And that's because this special wave comes from the internet, and it comes from a very cool website that I wanted to show you guys if you don't know it already. It's a website called CarveToy.online. And this is an awesome website. For one, it lets you create your own wavetables. So you can just click here and you can create your own lanes, for example. You've got additive, common shapes, custom formats, and then you've got these creative formats. So let's just go additive, and from here, you can start adding harmonics to create any wave that you can possibly imagine. It's sort of similar to the way that you can do it in Serum 2, where if we just open up a new instance of Serum 2, if you're on a sine wave, for example, like this, you can click this little button here and then start drawing in different harmonics. Now, Serum 2 is kind of limited in its ability to create unique wave shapes. You can definitely do it to an extent, but this website lets you get into the full nitty-gritty of everything. I mean, you can start with a complex shape and then add a new one. You can add a filter. You can add whatever you want. Now, I'm not going to go too deep into this website because honestly, I haven't explored all the details of the website myself. I've played around with it and it's awesome. I'm sure someone else on YouTube has made a more in-depth video about this website. But for now, I want to show you something else. Instead of creating your own wavetable, you can actually find this whole database of wavetables that other people have made themselves and decided to kindly share with everyone. You've got these crazy wave shapes here, like technology, dirty bass, Christ 2, like this is crazy. And so not only can you download these wavetables for absolutely free and use them to make your own presets, you can actually edit them. If you click this pencil icon over here, like let's say I like the shape of this one, I can now mess with it. I can mess with the balance, I can mess with the modulator phase shift. And then once I like it, I can just download it. Like let's go edit here. It opens up the full thing and you just download it to your computer. So that's exactly what I did for this preset. I went to CarveToy.online and I downloaded this wavetable that I thought sounded really cool. And as you can see here, you can see all the different variations of the wave. And I set my envelope to this right here. You can copy it. So short attack time, a bit of decay, sustain, and a bit of a medium-ish release time as well. So alone, it sounds like this. Obviously, I engaged the ARP as well. It's set to 1/16th, and that's it. It's set to transpose up, which is the default. And so with the ARP turned on, it sounds like this. And what I failed to mention here is that I'm using LFO1 at 0.1 hertz, so a very slow LFO to modulate the wavetable position. So it's actually modulating through some of those wavetables, just to give it a bit of texture over time, which is a very cool thing to do with your arpeggiated sounds. Arpeggiations inherently repeat, so as you have repetitions, it's nice to make some changes in your sound, and one way to do that is through this wavetable position. So I love that start to the sound. It's has very interesting texture. It's kind of tinny, kind of nasally, and I thought that that would be a great start. So the next thing that I did is I added another oscillator. This one I set to an octave higher immediately. I set the unison to 16 voices, and I detuned it 0.14. And I chose to use this basic mini wavetable. You can find it under analog basic mini. I decided to use the phase distortion from Oscillator A. So in other words, I'm using Oscillator A to phase distort this wave here. And I've got it set to 32%. So let's see what that sounds like now with oscillators A and B combined. As you can hear, that's a huge part of the sound. Let's turn the phase all the way down to hear what it sounds like without it. Okay, and all the way up. Yeah, you can see it starts getting quite gnarly up there. So I thought around 30% is pretty good. It's funny. The phase distortion almost smears it and softens the sound, which I thought was quite cool. I added a bit of noise. I've got it set to the Organics Shush 1 sound, the level at 66%. Yeah, I thought that noise really complemented the sound. I'm using the filter one on MG Low 12, classic filter, and then you can see that I've got this macro mapped to the cutoff over here, so I can have a really simple one knob filter. And I've got it turned up, so if I turn it all the way down, it's not affecting it at all. And then now with the low pass filter, I'm just rolling off some of those super high frequencies, and both oscillator A, B, and the noise is being affected by the filter. So it's sort of like a master global filter in that sense. And that's without any effects at all. You can see the sound really starting to take some shape, but it's not quite unique enough or powerful enough yet. Quick pause, if you guys want better sounds, I just dropped a bunch of free packs. I've got my Radix free drum kit, Tech House Serum 2 presets, Afro House kicks, my Prophet 5V guide, and finally our Voyager Serum 2 preset pack. You can grab all of those for absolutely free from the link down below. So the first thing that I chose to do is to use some hyper dimension. I'm pretty sure this is almost all in a default setting. You can see that I immediately mapped macro number 1 to the mix here and to the mix over here. So both for the hyper and for the dimension. By default, I set it all the way up. So you can see here, it's actually not that high. It's at about 25% here and about 50% here. So let's hear what it sounds like with the hyper now. So it just spreads it out a touch. I didn't want it to do anything crazy. Next up, we got distortion. Got it set to soft saturation over here. Filter off, drive at about 39%, and the mix is actually all the way up because I've got it mapped to macro number 5 over here. And you can see distortion is all the way up without it. With it turned all the way up, it adds those soft upper harmonics. To me, it sounds like it's on the edge of breaking, which is exactly what I was going for. Now we've got our multi-band compressor. Let's hear what that sounds like with it engaged. So you can see immediately that is doing quite a lot of work. Often with multi-band compression, I like to exaggerate it. As you can see, my threshold over here is set very low to negative 33 decibels. And you can see that by these black lines moving. And then I have to do a lot of makeup gain. So basically it's really squishing down all the frequencies in both the low, mid, and high frequencies because I really wanted that multi-band compression to be very present. I knew that this sound would benefit a lot from that. But try this out. This is something that I like to do and something that I learned from other sound designers. When you want to use a multi-band compression sound, you can really try exaggerating it and just going for it, especially when it comes to sound design. So try lowering the threshold a lot so you get a lot of compression, and then using a makeup gain, whether that's like a utility afterwards, or if your compressor has a built-in makeup gain, just use that. Another thing to pay attention to when you're doing this is you want to set your ratio quite gently. So 1:1 or 2:1, 2.5:1. Set it to something gentle, because if it's at 3:1 or 4:1 or 5:1, it's just too much. Just be wary of that. Next up, we got a bit of chorus. Let's see what it sounds like when we engage the chorus. So So that's the chorus at 50%. As you can see, I've got it mapped to macro knob number 3. Next up, we got some reverb. Let's hear that. I've recently been loving this vintage setting with most of the lows cut out, and I think all of this is pretty much at default. And you can see I've got that mapped. I've got the mix of the reverb mapped to macro number 2 for easy control. It's set to about 50% here. If you really want to wash it out, you can turn it all the way up. Also cool in its own way. Next up, we got a filter. So you might be able to hear a slight difference. This is doing something interesting. I've got it set to comb 2 over here. It's under Serum 2 filters, comb 2. Cutoff set to 209 Hertz, bit of drive. The filter var is set to 64%, the mix at 50%, the resonance at 55%. With a lot of these unique filters, I just move these knobs around until I get a shape over here in this little window that I like. You'll see if you raise the drive up too much, it's very easy to just destroy the sound. I like to play around with this until I find, the settings that I enjoy. And what I'm doing here is I'm actually using, if you right click on any of these knobs, like the resonance in this case, and you go to mod source, oscillators, I'm using the noise oscillator here as a modulator for this knob right here. So this noise over here is actually modulating, or moving if you prefer, this knob. And you can see that by this little dot moving. Now it's very subtle, but to me, adding these small little things often gives your sounds a lot of life. Even if you can't intentionally hear it, but adding these small types of movements within your sound often makes them feel more analog and more alive, in my opinion. Finally, we've just got a simple EQ. I'm just cutting the super low end. It really cleans up the sound nicely. And that pretty much does it for the sound, except this one. I've got the decay mapped as well, so that macro number 6 is mapped to just the decay. You can do cool automations like that where it kind of smears the sound out and then tightens up. What is this? Looks like we got a pane knob here as well. See, I love it when I just discover my own presets in real time. This is phenomenal. I've got the pane mapped, it looks like, as an aux source to the resonance over here on this knob. So you can see when I turn it up, this filter over here gets more resonant and it adds a very unique sort of destructive quality. I love a good pane knob in my presets if you've been following along. The only thing I didn't speak about is this last knob, which is just mapped to the frequency of this high pass filter. So if we turn it all the way up, it's just gonna cut all your sound out basically. So that actually does it for the preset this week. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys learned something useful from it. Let me know. Let me know if you guys want to check out this website, CarveToy.ai. I'm going to put the link to it in the description below so you guys can have some sound design fun. I would really appreciate it if you like and subscribe this video. I'm just starting my journey on YouTube over here with you guys. So every like, every follow, every comment means the absolute world to me. I really appreciate it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next week with another sound design video. Appreciate it. Have a good weekend.